My name's Hanley. I'm the host of On the Line With, a podcast based out of Ottawa. We speak about the arts, mental health, drug addiction, social causes and issues, and we're not here commending them or glorifying them. We're here speaking about it, getting down to the facts, getting down to the causes and effects, where it leads people, how it hurts people, how it hurts you. We're here to talk about how people deal with their mental health, self-care, self-love. The show's about helping and inspiring. Nothing more than that. My goal is to help and inspire. And when I say that, I mean help and inspire by helping someone maybe go and get the help they need for their addiction, or inspire someone to pick up a microphone or a pen or a brush and create an art. That's what we're here for. So again, my name's Hanley, and you'll be on the line with me.
Yo.
What's going on? Welcome back to On the Line With. It's episode 7. I'm here with Switch from BC. I'm going to give him a second to introduce himself. So Switch, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are, where you're from, what you represent, and give them a couple links right now.
Yeah, word up, man. So my name is Switch. I'm a hip-hop artist from BC, Canada. I reside on Vancouver Island. Yeah, man, I make underground hip-hop, a lot of like boom bap stuff. I touch on like a lot of mental health kind of topics in my music. You know, it kind of has like a philosophical kind of narrative to it. Yeah, man, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Spotify, you know what I'm saying? You can find me anywhere, man. Just search for me, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. So let's start off. When did you start making music, and why did you start making music? What was the main reason why you started making music, and when did you start making music?
For sure. I started writing down little, I guess you would call them songs. Like they weren't even necessarily rap songs, just like little jingles, I guess, when I was probably 8 or 9. And then I started writing. I started listening to hip hop when I was 10, and I started kind of trying to write my own hip hop songs when I was probably about 11. And then when I was about 12 or 13, I kind of started figuring out how to record them, just with a headset on my computer. And then that just kind of naturally evolved over time.
Yeah, it's funny. That sounds exactly like how my start came about when I was making music back in the day. When I started, I was around 14, and I started with the computer mic and a headset at the computer, and then it evolved into with a microphone.
Yeah, then you get the USB mic, and then
I mix and edit all my shit myself, and I was putting out mixtapes during the mixtape days, every week or every 2 weeks. I'd just be in my room recording nonstop. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude, definitely.
So your music definitely has an old school feel to it because of the boom bap and stuff like that. So I definitely mess with it. I'm still stuck in the 90s apparently. So
yeah, me too, man. I don't know, I listen to a lot of new school shit, man. I really do. I like Future. I like NBA Youngboy, like Kevin Gates. I like a lot of new school rap.
Don't get me wrong. I got love for the new artists. I'll listen to them and I mess with them. But I mean, I'm still stuck in the 90s. If you told me to put on a track, I'm probably gonna put on something from the 90s or early 2000s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. And as far as what I want to write to, beat wise, man, that's just what catches me. You know what I mean? I just don't, I hear tons of songs all the time where I'm that's a sick beat, but it's it doesn't mean I want to write something to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Not everybody could do the same thing to a beat that someone else can.
Yeah, exactly.
But people gotta learn that, because people be choosing the wrong fucking commercial beats that they jack to use, and then they just fuck it all up, and it's just why'd you bother?
Yeah, why don't you just, I think a lot of it, man, is just people make music, to show other people will like it, which totally makes sense. But at the same time, man, people are going to be able to tell, I think, what's true to you, where you belong kind of. What I talk about, wouldn't sound good over a trap beat, you know what I'm saying? It's just, if I'm talking about, fucking, substance abuse issues, or I'm talking about determinism, or you know what I'm saying? Some philosophical fucking topic. Like you don't want to hear that with a whole bunch of hi-hats. You know what I'm saying? You'd rather, I think rappers, and this is like a blanket statement, but I think like when your shit is really like when your lyrics are kind of complex, like the beats don't need to be as complex. You know what I'm saying? Like when I don't want to, like when you listen to say like a Gucci Mane or a Jeezy, like those lyrics, because they're, a lot of the time a little bit like simpler, they sound fire over those type of beats. Like it's just a good mix, and the way they're recording isn't simple. Like their ad libs and their, you know what I'm saying, like their backups and all that. Like there's nothing simple about it. But what I mean is just in terms of like the length of the words that you're using. Like rappers like me who like to use a bunch of big words and that kind of lyrical miracle shit. Like I just don't really like how that sounds over like really busy beats.
Exactly. Like you don't like backpack rap over like trap beats and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel you, bro. Trust me. I know what you mean, man. Like we're in the same wavelength. I think we're similar dudes in that sense, in the music and the weed.
Oh yeah, word.
But yeah. I don't think I caught the answer when I asked why you started making music exactly.
Got you.
Like, what was it exactly like that made you pursue music? What is it? Because you go all out. You go out with the merch. You go out with physical copies and everything. So like, what makes you like keep doing, like that's expensive for an independent artist. So what makes that way than just doing it straight platform, monetizing off it?
I think that like what made me want to do it was probably like, obviously I really liked doing it. Like, I just always liked, writing down the way I felt. I just always found it like helpful, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just kind of to deal with things. Like even now when something's going on in my life, like I'll catch myself like making rhymes about it. You know what I mean? Even if it's a bad thing, it's just like how I, I've learned to cope with stuff. Like it's just a mechanism. So I think kind of that's a big part of it. It was kind of more like journaling, or it just happened to fucking rhyme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was like a big part of it early on. And then when I would show my friends and shit, like I would always get good responses. Like I remember showing my one friend. It was one of like the first dudes that I kind of rapped in front of, and he was like, he's a good dude, but he's like, not a very sensitive guy. Like just kind of tell you how it is. And he just kind of looks at me and he's like, dude, you actually don't suck like at all. You know what I mean? And I remember being like, word, thanks, bro. I guess, you know what I'm saying. And that kind of just, when I rapped, in front of people, like the more and more I did it, the more and more I would get like, good responses. People would be like, shit, dude, you're good, So I guess that just, that made me take it seriously. Like, and I think that like, I don't know, bro, like for the people who really love this shit, like if you love this shit like enough, you're gonna find a way to like make it in your life as much as possible. And you can't do that if you're not generating any fucking money off of it, So like I went so hard, I go so hard so I can, make a living, so I can do it as much as possible. You know what I mean? If I didn't go so hard, I wouldn't be able to make enough money where I can spend a lot of time doing this. I'd have to be spending the majority of my time doing something else,
Yeah, and I guess without the live shows going on right now because of the pandemic, I guess that's hurting your pocket a bit as an independent artist. Like,
yeah, especially at first.
Stature, because like you, like I said, have the merch and all that. So I guess live performances is part of your monetizing when you're doing it as an independent artist. So I guess that's hurting you a little bit right now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like it definitely like just in every aspect, because it's like, you don't have like the shows to make you money because you get paid for the shows, but then it's also like the shows help with so many other things. Like they help you sell merch, you know what I mean? I sell way more merch when I'm at a show. Like I may sell more merch at one show than I would sell in like, weeks or a month, you know what I mean? Just trying to sell it like, from my store, you know what I mean? And also like when you do shows, like it makes people just kind of like, reminds your fans, that they're still your fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like a blessing for me because I was doing so much, like I was doing a lot of stuff backwards. Like I was touring, but I didn't have a website, you know what I'm saying? Like I was doing so many things where it's like, okay, they can find you, like you're in their face, but how are they even going to find you online? Like how are you going to follow up? Like I didn't, so I was just kind of doing it to make money. I would tour, make the money, take the money that I got from touring and then reinvest it in my career. And like, that's good, you know what I'm saying? But like, you just, I don't know. It was kind of a good thing when I couldn't go on. Like I was supposed to go on tour early this year, and it kind of like I had to sit it out, but it kind of made me rethink a lot,
Yeah, and how's the pandemic been with you and your mental health?
Definitely bad at first, man. Like I have like pretty intense anxiety. I mean, everyone has anxiety on some level, but I get pretty over the top, and
I got it bad too, so I feel you. I understand.
Yeah, dude, it's an everyday thing, right? So at first it was bad because every day I thought I had it, and just kind of getting like really routine oriented about like not touching doorknobs and just weird shit. This is getting really like over the top. So it's definitely like negatively affected my mental health, but I've been lucky enough that it hasn't negatively affected my physical health too, So it's been shitty, but it's not, it is what it is. I mean, you can still. The thing is like you gotta. The most important thing for me, and actually something that's probably like that I didn't do before the pandemic that I started doing because I was like conscious that it was my mental health was kind of deteriorating, was like forcing myself to go outside. Like I'd be like, okay, like yeah, you can't see your homies or you can't do this or do that or go to this place or whatever, but like get the fuck outside, man. You got to get outside at least. And so now I go outside every day. Like that's a thing for me. I have trouble going outside sometimes. Like I said, really stay in my crib. That's just kind of what I'm saying. I'm super pale and shit. Like I'm just not a big outside guy, so going outside every day, like I have to now because I'm like, oh, we're not quarantining, but like we're social distancing, but like I still so that it's been good. Like it's made me kind of develop some good habits, but definitely overall, yeah, it's been
So
like tough.
the scale's tipping on both sides, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and like as for your name, it's Switch. Was it originally Switchblade? Like
It was, yeah.
and is that because you actually carried a switchblade?
No, it's actually a funny story, man. It's when I was really young, I guess I was in grades 5 or 6, and I used to play rep hockey, and we used to have like you have to. I don't know if you ever played rep hockey, but they make you dress up. Like I play goalie, and they make you not they don't make you, but you're supposed to dress up all nice, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember like I had a friend of mine who was like kind of a bit of a violent, like troubled kid. He was like the other goalie on the team. We were buddies and we actually rapped together and shit. He's a bit older than me, and he used to have a switchblade on him. Like he would carry a knife around or whatever. And I remember one time, I didn't know this, but I remember one time like we were fucking just fucking around, and it was before the game. We were all dressed up, and I jumped in a puddle or whatever, and it splashed all over him, like mud splashed all over his suit and shit. I totally didn't mean to, but he pulled this knife out on me, and it like flicked, and he like put it on me. He actually cut me a little bit with it, like cut me in my chest just a tiny bit, but just to like scare me or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember like afterwards being like, yo, what kind of knife was that? And you got to keep in mind like I'm fucking 10 here, 10 or 11, 12 maybe 12 or at the oldest I'm 13, what I'm saying. So he's like, oh, it's a switchblade, and me just being like a young kid, I'm like, oh, it's fucking badass, it's so cool. And I just started calling myself, like his rap name was like Diablo, I'm saying, like everyone's first rap name's super corny, but the thing is that it just stuck because like I didn't change it for so long because I was so public. As soon as I started rapping, I was like, everybody needs to know I'm rapping, and so I just like, I don't know, I kind of procrastinated in changing it. So some people still call me that, you know what I mean? Like I'll do the odd fucking show or the odd track with somebody and they'll call me Switchblade, and I'm like, damn. It's embarrassing.
I like it. I think
word.
Dope. I don't know. I think I might start just calling you Switchblade when I talk to you.
It's whatever, man. It doesn't like offend me, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like I feel like it gives people the wrong impression because I don't
that story, like the way you make it sound like, yeah, it was all good when I was a kid, but now when you think about it, that was a fucked up situation.
It was a fucked up situation, and it was just there was no time, like the type of kid, this kid was, and I'm sure, like, I don't think he's gonna hear this, even if he did, he remembers, but he was a troubled kid, and wasn't actually under the impression like this motherfucker's gonna kill me, you know what I'm saying? Like he was my buddy. He was just one of those, like I remember we would like, he was just into like vandalism and just little dangerous dumb shit, that you do when you're a fucking kid. He wasn't finna kill me. I didn't think he was finna kill me, you know what I'm saying? I just it was like I just thought it was cool after, I was like, oh, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Definitely a good story. That was a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one for sure. It's one way to get a name, right?
Yeah, definitely. So at least you have a good story for your name, and like that. I ask people that question all the time, and it's usually like, oh well, I just got it. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. It's funny that
this one's gonna go on the books for best name story. Definitely, definitely in the book so far in the podcast for best name. Goes to Switchblade.
Word.
But yeah. So like the songs you sent me. I don't have them in front of me right now. Do you know the ones you sent me?
This song's about like basically healthy coping, finding other ways to more positive outlets to cope with negative situations. It's not really like a lot of my music. It is a bit like more of a trap vibe, but it's very like mellow and melodic. Yeah, so it's called Another Way. The second song here is called Holy Water. This is some like, more hardcore boom bap kind of almost horrorcore kind of stuff.
Right.
I talk a lot about religion and Satanism and shit like that. This song gets pretty deep. I really like this beat. It's produced by The Heretic. That's the homie right there. That dude's crazy good producer. And yeah, dude, this is one of my favorite joints. I got a video for this joint on YouTube. It's the first single of the project I'm doing with The Heretic, and it's definitely one of my favorite songs of mine.
So that track for the outro you said was called what?
Holy Water.
Holy Water, and you said you have a video for that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's on
All
YouTube.
right, I'll add that in the video description for the listeners to check out.
Got you, word.
We're about to check out Another Way from Switchblade, a.k.a. Switch SB, a.k.a. Switch.
Word up.
Yeah. Damn, these guys.
I'm so glad I found another way to take the pain away. I'm so happy I found this other way. It comes and goes, yet I know it's always here to stay. I'm so glad I have another way. I found another way to celebrate. I learned another method of escape. I was lost, but then I found an alternative route for my way out. I always imagined the worst outcome. I never picture the best one. I see nothing but projection. I can't find any exceptions. It's not a grudge I'm holding against you. It's not resentment, it's acceptance. I can't expect you to change. That's illogical to me. Who you are right now is who you're always gonna be. And if I'm wrong, let me be pleasantly surprised. But when I focus on your mistakes, I forget how hard you try, and that's wrong. Every day without the loss is a victory. I can't appreciate who you are while I push you to be what I'd rather see. Honestly, I wish burning this bridge would teach you how to swim. But right now you're drowning. I haven't been in your shoes, but I still where you stand. And it took my whole life thus far to be okay with who I am.
Word up.
All right. Yeah, so we just listened to that track, the snippet of that track. So how that track come about?
This song I got, just how most other joints come about. I get a pack of beats and I go listen to them. But this one was crazy that it was more instantaneous. Like normally I'll listen to the beats for the first time, like in my car or something, somewhere nice. I don't want to listen to them just on the laptop. So I got like a few beats from the homie G School and I went and played them in the car, and it was actually the first one I played. It was crazy. Like he'd sent me like, 6 or 7 beats and I hadn't heard any of them. And normally I'm in a big rush to just go through all of them, right? Like, see which ones I like, but I didn't, bro. I just kept right away it came to me like the chorus, and I just kept playing the beat just back and back. I was like, yo, this shit right here is crazy, so I really like that beat, man. And
that's how that songs come about, man.
Yeah, dude, just instant, right? And
so you write the verse in like 15 minutes and you're like, I can't believe I wrote that shit so fast. And it's like one of your best verses. People are like, you killed that shit. You're like, I wrote that shit in 15 minutes, B.
Yeah, it's crazy like that, man. Well, and with me, what I do is I have like a weird, like my process is like I'll usually like get some shit down, but I take quite a while to write, because I edit. Like I'll write it, I'll be like, okay, this is what I want to say, but then I edit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same way when I write music and I record music. Like if I'm at the studio and it doesn't sound right there, then I'll edit it on the spot. You know what I mean? Or I'll stress a word, or I'll add a syllable or something. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that track was dope. How did Holy Water come about?
Yeah, so Holy Water, similar situation, but I started talking to The Heretic. He's from the States, and he sent me a few beats, and I think he sent me, I want to say 4, and all 4 of them ended up being like our project. Like it was wild. It was like, normally it's not, I'm pretty picky, but it was like, yo, no, all of these like are perfect. And yeah, that one took me I didn't write that one like right away. You know what I'm saying? I probably had the beat for like a few weeks, and then I just kind of started, poking at it. I think I thought of like, all y'all do is imitate, and our job is to innovate. Bathing with what the fuck do I say? Something about, but I remember I thought of that sentence, like, before I'd actually written to the beat. Like, I just thought of the sentence in my head, and I was like, oh, I like that. All y'all do is imitate, and our job is to innovate. Rambling with a nosebleed and some raw on my dinner plate, bathing in holy water till my body disintegrates. That's what it is. And then right off that sentence, like, before I'd even put it to the beat, I got the idea for the video, because obviously I'm saying I'm bathing in holy water, but I was like, I want to be bathing in like blood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to. So then right away I was like, this is going to be like a video, and this is, what I'm saying, and then boom.
You're definitely gonna piss off the churches.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, the thing was like, I don't know. I've gotten definitely some flack for this one. Not
Whatever,
a whole
man.
bunch.
It's artistic value, man. It's how you look at it. Fuck what the opinion is. I mean, if people want to do it. I mean, Lil Nas X has shoes called Satan shoes with a drop of blood in them.
Exactly.
Which is fucking weird. But so, you have any projects coming out in the next couple months, or?
Yeah, I have a single dropping at the end of this month, so on the 30th, and then I have a project dropping the following month, sometime in May. I haven't decided. It's either going to be at like, mid-May or the end of May. I'm not like 100% sure yet, but yeah, that project's like all produced by The Heretic, so that Holy Water joint's on there, and then there'll be some other unreleased joints on there, and I got the second single off that project drops April 30th.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds good. Definitely going to be interested in checking that out. So hopefully you can send me a physical copy if you have any.
Yeah, dude. I actually got them.
Dope.
I just got them made up way earlier, because I just figured, like, people are gonna. The physicals go really quick, and there's always like this timeline delay of like getting them and then getting, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I got them, like, the album's not out for another at least another month. I don't even have like a release date for it, and I've had the physical copies of the album, dude, for like probably like 3 or 4 months.
Well, bro, if you could send me one.
No, I got you, bro. I got you.
Up on the wall of dope, because that's what I'm calling the wall with all the merch that I get from different people.
The wall of dope.
The wall of dope.
Word up.
It's a play on words to show us about substance abuse, but it's all dope.
Word up. That's perfect, bro.
So definitely have that put up on the wall of dope after I peep it.
Word.
Make sure you sign it, so that way people know that it's yours and it's in yours only.
Oh, easy, bro. Yeah, definitely. I always sign the albums.
Like I like to tell people, I'm interviewing the person behind the artist rather than the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, it feels like I know you because of our similarities and shit. It's kind of dope. I like it. I got a good vibe talking with you right now. So like.
No, dude. Yeah, you too, bro. You too.
Yeah, definitely had my breakdown, and that's why I'm doing this now, trying to help people or inspire people to get the help they need, or pick up a mic or a paintbrush, anything to get inspired.
Anything. Yeah, word. As long as it's not a fucking needle or a pipe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or a gun or a knife to put.
Yeah, facts.
Very
good point, bro. Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of mental health, I know you have a past with mental health issues and stuff like that. Like, you want to elaborate on them for me and talk about
it? Man, for sure. I've just always been like a pretty anxious person. I've been diagnosed with like a few different things, but I take those with a grain of salt, because like at the time of the diagnosis, I was like, using substances. So I think that's kind of been like one of my biggest problems in my life. Obviously, it's been substance abuse. I started using substances when I was like 12, just like smoking weed, that was like my first time trying it or whatever. Yeah. And it kind of like, I don't know, what happened with me was when like the main kind of turning point, I guess you could say, was when I was like 15 or 16, and I was hanging out with a guy who lived next door to me, and he was drinking, and I wasn't drinking. I was just smoking weed, chilling. And my friends were there because he came over. He was a new neighbor, and he came over and he wanted us to hang out with him, and we were kind of like, yeah, whatever, buddy. He seemed pretty drunk, and but when people are drunk, they're like, there's no filter. So he was just like, I can tell you guys don't want to come over. Like, fuck that, come over. You know what I mean? Like, he was just calling us on it. So it was kind of funny. Yeah. So we're like, oh, fine, like, we'll come over. We couldn't say no, And he was like my new neighbor. And so long story short, like as the night kind of goes on, you know, he's getting drunker and drunker. And keep in mind, none of us are drinking, right? And, you know, it's just him and his wife like getting drunk. And then him, you know, as the night goes on, like he's getting drunker and my friends are kind of disappearing. And by the end of the night, it's like just me and this guy. And I'm like 15 at the time. And he's like, oh, I got a good idea. And he goes and he gets some Coke, right? So I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like I think I might have seen Coke like maybe once before at this point, but I was, you know, just kind of walking by it. Like this was like, oh shit, like it's in my face. Like this guy's about to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, holy, like this is, you know, this is, wow, I didn't know this was going to happen, you know? And I guess cause he was so drunk, he, you know, he didn't think like how young I was or anything like that. He like did a rail. Oh, this the thing. He was cutting up the lines on his barbecue with like a big knife, like a fucking butcher knife. Right. Which to this day, I haven't seen anyone cut up lines with a fucking big knife, but that's what he was using. So he's like, you know, just making the lines with the knife. And then he's like, he does one. And then he kind of points his knife at me and he's like, come get some of this in you. Now, like in retrospect, I don't think he was like threatening me, but at the time I didn't really know him that well. He was drunk and I didn't really have any experience with cocaine yet. So I didn't know, for all I knew, like it made you crazy and, you know, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know, you know, how he was feeling. So I wasn't about to just be like, nah, you know? Yeah. So I just did some Coke. And I was so young, bro. Like I didn't even know to like plug my other nostril, you know what I'm saying? Like I went to do it and I like blew it, you know, and he all over the place and he was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was all pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like, you know, I was young, you know, I was like 15 or 16. And so I did Coke because I kind of felt pressured into it. And then after that, it was like, I didn't just become a Coke addict, but I wasn't really like afraid of it. So like if I was somewhere and people were drinking, I would do it or whatever. And you know, then I kind of got into like, you know, doing it when I drank. And then like before I knew it, like, you know, it was just like a really big problem where it would be like either I would do it all day, every day, like without even drinking, or like I would be drinking, I'd start doing it and I'd end up doing it for like 3 or 4 days, sometimes even longer. And that lasted probably like on and off like 5 or 6 years. But during that point, like I got into like, you know, much worse, not much worse drugs, but like kind of a much worse combination of drugs because the cocaine for me, like I'm such an anxious, you know, person. It didn't really, you know, help much, you know what I'm saying? Definitely not. Yeah, so I would use other drugs, like I could never sleep, right? And when I got to the point where cocaine was like something that... Could you elaborate on other drugs? Yeah, for sure. Codeine was a big one. Ativan. Downers. Yes, downers. Alcohol, Xanax, like towards the end, but mostly like the Ativan and the codeine. And shit. Yeah, because it was like... They slow you down. Exactly. Like with the Coke. I mean, I would drink lean and shit anyways when I, you know, sometimes when I wasn't even doing Coke, you know, just like I was open to doing any drugs. MDMA was like a big thing. I would do MDMA. I didn't even feel like, for me, MDMA felt like, oh, I'm not doing Coke. Like good for me. It's like drinking pop instead of beer. Like to me, that's what it was like. You know, I was like, oh, I'm just doing MDMA. I had my own personal issues with Molly as well. So I feel. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I've done Molly, you know, hundreds of times. Like I used to do it like for fucking, you know, weeks in a row. Like I remember one time, like me and my girl took it for every day for like 3 weeks or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, it's one of those things that you can do and not like be addicted to really. Like yeah, you don't like withdraw. It's just mental, right? And same thing with the Coke. It's like, I don't know, like So basically, what happened, man, was like I couldn't sleep because I was at the point where I would do it every day. So then I couldn't sleep. So then I got to this really dangerous point where I would like do Coke all day. And then I would like probably at around like midnight, I'd start drinking codeine and taking Ativan, which is like not very good for your heart, you know? So I'd do that like, you know, all day, every day. And then that ended up like I was in university at the time. And that ended up obviously starting to kind of conflict with my schedule a little bit. I couldn't get up because I would drink the downer. Like I could do anything on Coke. I could do all my classes, all my homework on Coke. That was fine. But it was just that when I drank lean, I couldn't wake up. It was like, you know, it was too. And then I would withdraw. You were a functioning Coke addict for a while then. Oh yeah, dude, for a while, but it took its toll, man. Like, you know, I like to think I was functioning, you know, for sure, but at the same time, I wasn't living I was like, you know, I was selling Coke to afford Coke, and I don't mean like, you know, selling Coke like, oh, I'm a badass. I mean like I'm a Coke addict, and I like also have, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't. Knows, we're not here to glorify it. We do condemn, but you know, when people say they sold Coke, like you get this idea that they like made money because most people do, but when I talk about like me selling Coke, a lot of them do it to afford a habit. Yes, I sold Coke like so I could have Coke, you know. I was never like a ballin', you know. That's just not part of my story, you know. But anyways, like so then I met my girlfriend And that helped a lot. Like, so I met my girlfriend. When I met my girlfriend, I was actually like I'd been up for like a few days and I was super late and just fucked up. And I was in this really bad mental state. And I brought her back to where I was living at the time in Nanaimo. I had like an apartment. And I basically just like chain smoked cigarettes and just like told her my life story, And for some reason, like she liked me, what I'm saying? Even though I looked like I must have just looked crazy, what I'm saying? And she helped a lot. When we would start hanging out, like I would just, we would do we would still party and shit, but that meeting my girlfriend made it so coke wasn't an everyday thing. But the thing was I would still binge. Like every time we would go party or whatever, it would start on Molly or start with any other, it would lead to the coke, and then I would be like gone for a few days, and she'd wonder where I was, and it just got, she helped me from doing it every day, but every time I did it, like I couldn't stop, kind of thing.
Like
and I'd get
go on a bender.
Yeah, exactly. And so then eventually what happened was I got a lot of things happened, but me and my girl were like basically living in my car, and I went back to where I was living at the time to get some medication that I had left there. And the people that were living there called the cops on me. Actually, no, what happened actually was I went to my parents' house to get some medication that I had there. That's what happened. And what happened was my mom was trying to convince me to, like, I don't know what, probably to go to rehab or something, but I wasn't hearing it. And my parents called the cops on me, which still fucks with me a bit. But when I think about why they did it, it doesn't really fuck with me. Then I got detained under the Mental Health Act. And I was in the fucking the room or whatever, and then when they let me out, I had to go the next day to get like a checkup or whatever. And I've had that happen more than once. But this time my girl left me at the hospital, but she didn't do it for any reason. She was just going to I think she was going to get her phone fixed. But what happened was my parents showed up to the hospital, and they told me my girl had left and wasn't going to come back unless I agreed to go to rehab. And I'd already been to rehab a few times at this point. So I was like, fuck, no way. But then I was like, well, fine, I'll go. So I agreed to go because they basically had lied to me and told me that my girl wasn't coming back, which I'm glad they did. And I agreed to go.
For 1 second. How many times have you been to rehab?
3 times in total, but like outpatient and inpatient.
Okay. You continue. I would just wanted to know, just for the listeners, so they
totally. No, so then I went to rehab, and I went for 6 weeks. And I left early, but I've been sober since then. I mean, other than weed, I smoke weed every day, but that was 4 years ago, and I haven't done coke, I haven't drank alcohol. I go to NA and AA. I haven't for a while, but I do. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my buddy have been doing little AA meetings on Skype and shit. It's definitely like a part of my life, and my sobriety's super. And it's before everything, But I definitely do smoke.
My bro.
Thanks, bro. No, yeah, it was I mean, it's a long story, but that's kind of how things started getting really bad, you know what I mean?
If it's a long story, there's always room to tell me more. This is your outlet to be your authentic self and let the listeners know, like, this is Switch as a person. You're being honest with them so they know who you are, you know what I mean? I feel like if you're more honest with your listeners and they see that you're authentic and you're vulnerable to the questions and you're honest and you're authentic, then they understand you more and they want to listen to you more and they want to see you come up more, you know what I mean? They want to see. So that's why I do it for the artists, but I do it for the people also listening who need help and need to get the help and need to get inspired, etc. But yeah, I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to say that. So this is like, anytime you need an outlet, bro, you could holler at me and you could be on a season. Like, you're always welcome.
Lord, I appreciate that, bro, and I do appreciate what you're doing too. I think it's a great idea. I think it's awesome to just listen sometimes to people who are I think yeah, dude, like, to go back to the addiction shit. Like, what happened was, like, when I went to this center, they had these like videos that they like show you like basically what's actually happening like in your brain, kind of, and my understanding of it, which is like, I'm sure this is a big part of what's driving force behind addiction, but my understanding of addiction to this point, and keep in mind I'm 24 at this point or something like that, 24 I think, is that I'm just a fuck up, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of willpower. I can't I don't actually understand like what's happening neurologically, You know what I'm saying? I just have this simple explanation for my behavior, like most people do, right? So I'm just thinking, you know, I'm blaming myself. Oh, I can't do anything right. I can't stay off of drugs. You know, I'm a lush. I'm this. I'm that. Whatever. And then when I went to rehab and I started meeting people who were like so different than me, but were like so similar in terms of like they've had this kind of like inability to be inside their body, and they always alter their mood, and it you know leads to issues in their life. And you know, even people who use different drugs, or you know, like you know, because the rehab center I was at was like mostly alcoholics, and you know, not most, lots of heroin addicts and you know, coke addicts and stuff, but it was like, you know, I would say 50% alcoholics, you know. So talking to a lot of alcoholics was just like really interesting, you know, because it's the exact same thing, or people with eating disorders, you know. And it's just kind of this, I mean, one thing I noticed straight away, which was kind of like a tipping moment for me, was like people who did, like, you got all these addicts and they're in a rehab center, right, and they're away from their drug, right, their drugs.
Was this rehab center off the island, or?
No, it was on the island. It's called Cedars.
Okay.
It's in like Collow Hill. So one of the things I noticed right away, which kind of helped me understand kind of how holistic this was, how much it wasn't really about the substance, but it was more about just my inability to kind of be in myself, you know. Right. I started noticing that people were away from their drugs and they were finding other ways to alter their mood. So like, say you're a heroin addict and a meth addict, and you go to rehab and you don't have heroin, you don't have meth, so you start like smoking cigarettes constantly, you know, you start eating unhealthily, you know, you might even start flirting with the members of the opposite sex, or you know, the same sex, whatever you're into, you know. You might start just engaging in other behaviors, you know, exercising, you know what I mean, like just something that you're not in yourself, you know, just something to keep you away from feeling how you feel. So you know what I mean, and
going through withdrawal and detox, and like you don't want to be there at all, so like everything's hitting you
even when you're not, though, dog. Like that's what I'm saying is like like to me that's what the addiction really is like you just can't be in your body for whatever reason it is. You have this compulsion to get out of your body. It's like someone who, it's like someone who says like it's like someone with Tourette's, right? Like somebody with let's say verbal Tourette's, right? Somebody with Tourette's who says the word fuck, you know, all the time or whatever, they know that that's not fucking helping them, you know what I'm saying? Like they get that it's impeding on their social situations, you know, their ability to make friends. They probably understand that it's, you know, gives people the wrong impression of them. They understand all these things, but it doesn't mean that the compulsion goes away. It doesn't mean they can simply just stop saying the F word, right? It's a compulsion, and that's very similar to addiction. It's like, you know, this shit's not helping you. People have this idea like drug addicts are self-medicating, like we think we're helping the situation. Like, what are we all, a bunch of dumb fucks? Like, I knew when I was addicted to cocaine that it wasn't helping me. I just couldn't stop. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know when I thought, but here's the thing though, is I thought it was about the cocaine, or I thought it was about the Molly, or I thought it was about the Ativan. And it's like, yeah, okay, those are symptoms. But what the real condition is that I can't be in my own body. Because when I go to rehab, I want to work out more. I want to smoke more darts. Like I was smoking like 2 packs of darts a day, man. You know what I mean? Just constantly smoke, you know, just.
You find other habits to take up time, man.
Exactly.
If you're looking at the clock all day when you're in there, it's helping you, but it's almost like a jail. Not to sound cruel, but like. Oh no,
you're there though. You're stuck. You can't just leave.
Some of them are made nice and pretty, but like it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like you're just locked up. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're being taken away, like you're being taken away from society because you've fucked up. You know, you can't live there anymore, and it's not like you can just leave. I mean, you could, but you know, your family and shit isn't just finna, you know, go, come on home, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to stay there in a sense, you know. And I do, like, a lot of people don't agree with like going, you know, with rehab and all, and for me, dude, it saved my life just because I knew I couldn't do cocaine anymore. For the last 3 years I did it. Like I knew like this is gonna kill me, like this is not for me, but I just couldn't, like I had to be in a place where I couldn't access it.
Yeah, because I saw photos of you like pre rehab, I think, like afterwards. Like when I think you did like a post about it, and then afterwards, like, you look healthy as fuck now. So like, congratulations, bro. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that shit, man. The thing was too is like with me, you know, and this is like a, you know, it's another issue that I'm sure a lot of your you know, your listeners can kind of like relate to. But it's with me, you know, something you'll notice like about like drug addicts, and I find like, you know, a lot of cocaine addicts that I know are people who use stimulants is like it gets tied into your eating, you know. I mean, same thing with weed, you know, but more of an like weed helps you eat. Coke does the opposite, but like for me, my thinking was it helps me not eat. You know what I'm saying? So like I kind of developed this eating disorder where like I would be doing cocaine so I wouldn't be hungry, and I would feel good about that, you know. And whether in my mind I'm just trying to rationalize the cocaine use, like assign it some positives so I don't feel so guilty about it or whatever, but I would start being like, oh man, I don't feel so bad, like, you know, I haven't fucking eaten for 2 days, like I'm gonna look great. And dude, when I went to rehab, bro, like I was like 135 pounds or so, and dude, I thought I looked great, bro. Actually, honestly, I thought I was kind of fat. If you would have really asked me, bro, I'd have told you like I could lose a few pounds, like, you know, I was like
something that the listeners probably don't know about me is like I had a weight issue myself, like when I was in like high school and like as a young adult, like growing up, like in my early 20s, I was like a big boy, like I was like almost 300 pounds, you know. And I ended up not taking care of my diabetes and like just not taking care of my health with substance abuse and all that. I ended up being like 105 pounds and I passed out and I ended up in the hospital for like a week, man. It was crazy. And like it happened within like 6 months to a year. Like I lost like all that weight from 300 pounds to 105, bro. Like you could see my ribs, you could see my everything. It was crazy.
What were you using?
It wasn't really so much that I was using, it was more that I wasn't taking care of my diabetes. So like insulin in my body was eating my fat from my body.
Yep, that makes sense.
So I ended up with like ketoacidosis, and I was in the hospital for a week or so.
Jeez.
But yeah, like I lost all that weight, but then I started taking care of my diabetes, and like now I'm back up there like to like around like 200 and something pounds, so like
a healthier weight.
Feeling better, feeling better.
That's great, man. I'm happy to hear that.
Like, I still have a problem with my appetite. I'll get hungry, like sometimes when my stomach growls, I'm like, wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, dude, I hear you. Like for me, it's pretty tied to the weed. Like I gotta smoke like a lot of like I don't eat in the morning. I wake up and I'll probably start eating tonight, bro. I'll probably start eating around like 5-6 o'clock, you know. That's
what I'm saying, bro. I'm the same way, exact same. I have to wake up in the morning, smoke mad weed, and then throughout the day, like I'm gonna make something soon, and then I'll end up doing something, procrastinating, and then I'll end up making that later at night, and then I'll eat, and then but I never have an appetite when I need to have an appetite, you know. Like people are like dinner, I'm like, I'm not really hungry.
Yeah, I know, it's weird, man, and it's weird how you can, like, you know, when your weight does fluctuate, like it can really fuck with your head too, you know. You can start having these weird, like a lot of people who do drugs, I think the part of it at least is like when you don't do the drug, you might put on a bit of weight, and like a lot of people don't like that. You know, they're like, oh, like I didn't like that. Like I remember when I was in treatment, they feed you like, you know, they feed you shitty food, like not shitty, like, you know, but food that gets you kind of big, you know, like high fat food, you know what I mean? Like there's a fucking method to it, you know. And I knew that, and I didn't want to eat the food because I didn't want to get fat. And I remember this girl said to me, she was like, yeah, you're not really like Coke skinny anymore. And dude, when she said that, it just like something just clicked in my mind. Like I was just like, I have to monitor everything I eat. Like I have to stay skinny, you know. And after that, bro, like, oh bro, I just started freaking out about my eating, man. And then also like I didn't want to be there for that long, and like they keep you longer if you have eating disorders, right? Because that shit takes like a longer. So I was like, you know, I really didn't want like them, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
You didn't want them to find out that you were trying to like.
Yeah, I was that worried about how I looked. Like when they would ask, I'd just be like, yeah, I look fine. I'm okay with it, you know. But in my head, I was just like, you know. And that's one thing that anyone going into rehab, man, like a huge piece of advice that I would give them is to just like bare your fucking soul, man. Like I wanted to get out, and I just lied. Like I would just not lie, but I minimized a lot of shit. Like I would tell them like, oh, they're like, oh, are you using every day? No, you know, dude, I use this just at night, or like I only use this many milligrams of this or whatever. Like I minimized it, and they probably knew, but it's because I wanted to leave. I didn't want them thinking the problem was that bad, because I didn't want them thinking, knowing how fucked I really was, because I didn't want to be there that long, you know what I'm saying? And that shit, that doesn't fool them. Like they're fucking clinical fucking psychologists, like they know when you're being honest. And B, like it doesn't help you, you know what I'm saying? Like I ended up like leaving early because I just, you know, I get homesick, you know what I'm saying? I really like to like be in control of my environment, you know. I hated fucking being there. I hated it, even though it was a nice place and shit, but just the shit they make you do, like 6 hours of fucking group therapy, you know what I mean? And it's just brutal shit, man.
Yeah,
all that feeling work, and you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like that was kind of, that has, you know,
that must have had a lot of like damage on your mental health
big
and
time
stuff. Like coming home, you must have been.
I was really like I would almost say like you know, mild OCD. Like I was very afraid to do things that I felt altered my mood, because I felt like that was like my problem. So I was like, just really like hyper, like, you know, hyper vigilant and just really sensitive about everything, and just trying to like control everything about my, like, you know, and then eventually, you know, I was able to just kind of let go a little bit. But
I'm like that. I have a problem. I have agoraphobia. Like I go outside and shit like that, but like
me too.
I avoid it as much as I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I feel like I have to tell myself to get outside, like, or someone, you know, my girl will tell me.
That's what
like,
I have to do too. I have to be like told, or someone has to be there, be like, I outside with a ride.
Yeah, or else you just won't go.
I'm not trying to catch the city bus and come through and shit, you know, like,
no.
Anxiety's gonna be going through the roof, and I'm not gonna be trying to be popping my pills and my bars and shit on a bus.
No, fuck that. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. The bus is. I don't like lots. I don't like air. I'm sure you're the same way. And COVID's also like made that worse. Is like, I don't know. I've always been anxious about crowds, like for different reasons. Like I sketch about people in large groups, because the way I think about it is like, I don't know. It's weird, but it's like you never have that much control over, like, you know, the more like familiar you are with the people in the environment, the more control you have over the environment, right? So you all of a sudden go to the, you know, because you can kind of predict the behavior of the people who, you know, who are in the environment, right? Like, you know, your body's not gonna fucking do this. But I don't really like going to places where there's like a whole bunch of people, because there's no telling what somebody might do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that sounds like super paranoid.
Like when I was younger, there was no problem. Younger, I'd be like, fuck it, whatever, let's roll now.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I'm not really down.
Nah, dude, like, who knows what's gonna go down, man? Some motherfucker just goes crazy and starts stabbing people, or somebody, you know, like, the more people I gotta talk to, like, the higher chances one of those people's gonna say some shit that doesn't really jive right with me. And I'm one of those people that, like, I don't know, man, if I disagree with something you say, like, I can't just, like, especially if I find it, like, offensive, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody says some shit like, you know, all homeless people should fucking die, or some fuck shit like that, I can't just, like, oh yeah, man, no, like, yeah, I have to say something. No,
I'm definitely with you on that, because, like, man, like, I hate when people talk down on the homeless. I mean,
dude.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been some homeless people that, like, I've had fucking back and forth with, and I've called them, like, fucking bums and shit. Don't get me wrong. Like I've said things that I shouldn't have said, but, like, some of them are just, like, ungrateful motherfuckers sometimes. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's a tough position.
Tough gig. It's a tough gig, but
it's a tough gig, yeah.
They choose it sometimes, you know what I mean? There's some of them that don't choose it, and then there's the ones that do. And, like, the ones that don't choose it, I feel for. The ones that do choose it, I feel for, kind of. But, I mean, if they chose it, then, like, why should I feel bad, like, as bad? Who didn't choose to be out on the streets, but are out on the street because they can't afford the rent, because a landlord being a prick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. And, like, I don't know, man. Like, if you look at, you know, like,
you're an advocate for, like, homeless people then.
Yeah, I work, like, with homeless people, and, like, I don't know, the thing about it is, like, you know, if you look at, like, the stats, like, I think, like, for brain injuries, for example, I think it's like 2% of the population or something. It might even be less than that, but, like, something like 2% of the population has a brain injury, right? Yeah. But if you look at the homeless population, like, 58% of the homeless population has a brain injury, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, I think that, like, what's happening is, like, a lot of these people who are just, like, have these developmental disorders, or, like, you know, because, like, for example, like, you know, my sister has a brain injury, and, like, you know, my sister's brain injury is from when she was sick. She was, like, you know, really, really, really sick when she was younger, and she got a whole, you know, basically the condition that she had left her with, like, damage in her frontal lobe, and what
was it, meningitis?
No, it wasn't meningitis. It's Langercell something. It's fucked, bro. You know how there's like those words that you
Yeah,
try to.
don't worry about it.
Langerhans cell histiocytosis, I think.
How's she doing nowadays?
She's good, bro. She's it's a brain injuries. You know how that shit is, man. It's
She's got a life though. She's happy, like.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like, my sister has her parents, right? And like, my parents are like super, super good for my sister. Like they help her out with shit, and she has the support of our whole family, right? And but if she didn't, like, she'd be homeless, like 100%. You know what I'm saying? There's no way that she can earn enough money. There's no way that she could even navigate the system to get herself on disability. You know what I mean?
Well,
so it's like
out in Vancouver and like BC, like it's tough out there with the amount how much it is for rent and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then it's like even like if you have the amount, like not everyone has the brain capacity to like budget. You know what I mean?
No,
like I've gone shopping with clients, dude, and they like go to get a certain amount of groceries and they don't have enough money. And like, for me, that's just like so, it's so easy when I'm sure I never like, of course I know how much this is going to cost before I go to pay for it. But for people who haven't done it before, or for people who have, developmental disabilities, or, you know what I mean, dude? Like, I don't know, man. It's a complicated thing, right? It's definitely, I mean, I haven't met anyone. I've been working with homeless people for, about 4 years now. And like, I haven't met anybody where I've been like, like I don't totally understand why you're here. Like it's always like either like a crippling addiction that's like taken everything, you know what I mean? And how hard that shit is to.
Or an injury that's taken everything.
Yeah. And usually, bro, more times than not, it's a combination of both.
Yeah, exactly. And I see that a lot. And like, that's why I don't talk down on them, but like there's just some of them that are just like rude, like ungrateful, and I don't know if they have a brain injury. They may have a brain injury, but I don't know that because it's an invisible disease.
Exactly, that's the thing, right? And that's that's the thing about.
It's not like I'm gonna throw down with them or something, but I'm gonna respond. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and I have my moments too, right? Like fuck, I have my moments with my own sister, dude, where I'm like, pardon fucking me, and then I realized like, okay, this isn't her fucking, she's not doing this on purpose, like the thing about somebody's brain, and like obviously, like I'm preaching, exactly what I'm talking about, but it's like a person's brain, a person's brain is what determines their behavior. So like why do we as people, when someone behaves somehow we don't like we're so quick to just like blame that person, when it's like when somebody can't walk, right away we're like, oh, we're not blaming them, like I bet they don't exercise, I bet they have a shitty leg or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like we just understand, we're like, oh, if someone can't function in that way, like we're totally sympathetic.
And I think that's where it comes to the invisible and invisible disease or injury, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
100%. It 100% is
definitely
invisible.
Hard to like determine with the invisible injuries with people, brain injuries and stuff like that. So like,
it is, man, it is.
But like you can't sit down with everybody and be like, okay, before I argue with you, do you have a brain?
Yeah, no, you can't, and that's the thing. No, that's not how, right? And sometimes you just react.
To look at with yourself too, because of your reactionary to everything. I try to be cool, calm, and collected. I try not to like fight with anybody in the street. I'm not trying to get any bad blood or have any fucking beef.
No, yeah, me neither, bro. Life's way too short for that, bro.
I'm too old for that shit.
Oh, bro. Yeah, we're always too old for that shit, bro.
Yeah. But look, I know you got to dip. I know you got to take off. So before you take off, you want to introduce that track one more time, Holy Water?
Yeah, so this track is called Holy Water. It's produced by The Heretic. This is some straight underground hip-hop shit, This is that raw, gritty type shit, Check out the video too, man. The video is fly.
I'll put the link for the video in the description for the episode.
I appreciate you, bro, and I appreciate you having me on here, bro. It's good to chop it up.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk soon. We'll talk something. All
right.
We'll do a project or something.
Word up, bro. Sounds like a plan.
All right, my dude. Good talking to you. All right, so everybody, this has been episode 7 of On the Line With. So,
word up.
All right, my brother. Have a good one. Take care.
You too, bro.
And I hope your family and your sister's all good. And give your girl my respect and appreciation for taking care of you. And again, congratulations on being sober for all this time, man.
Word up. You too, bro. You too.
All right, brother.
Mad respect, bro.
You too.
Peace.
One. Switch. Holy water. Yeah. All y'all do is imitate, and our job is to innovate. Rambling with the nosebleed, and some raw on my dinner plate. Bathing in holy water till my body disintegrates. I'm bathing in holy water. And then I reappear through the cracked glass in the broken mirror. Satanic malice surrounds me like I'm Aleister Crowley. Do what thou wilt. What the fuck's guilt? I'm on the highway to hell. You're just bugs on my windshield. Grim Reaper, I keep my face in the hood. The Satanic Bible's one of my favorite books. It's necessary evil that'll lead you towards a greater good. That's the oldest trick that I know. Loyal to the darkness. It is giving me hope, but it also alienates me. I be spitting this dope, and $666 is all I get for a show. Shit is fucked up, I know. When all y'all do is imitate, and our job is to innovate. Rambling with the nosebleed, and some raw on my dinner plate. Bathing in holy water till my body disintegrates. I'm bathing in holy water till, death comes in threes. Who's trying to kick it with me? They're cyanide in the Kool-Aid. I'm sipping it. Pain's my roommate because I live with it. Catch me stunting in some stolen kicks. Feed the poor, kill the rich. The world is a monarchy. I know the system like I got me a law degree. The 1% rule, we are working for them. The world is a business, and human life's an expense. I'm staring at the Baphomet. Or maybe I'm staring back at it. If you have no ability and your yes men tell you you're the dopest, you're a Cancer no matter what sign your horoscope is. All y'all do is imitate, and our job is to innovate. Rambling with the nosebleed, and some raw on my dinner plate. Bathing in holy water till my body disintegrates. I'm bathing in holy water till my body disintegrates. Switch. Holy water.